Hey y'all, my name is Cheryl Thompson-Morton. I'm a program manager at the Lenfest Institute for Journalism focused on Philadelphia. Our mission is to find sustainable business models for local journalism, and we do that by supporting high-impact journalism, news technology and business innovation, and diverse and growing audiences. Today I'm really excited to walk you through the Next Generation Fund for 2021, one of my favorite programs. So, why the Next Generation Fund? Philadelphia is nearly 66% people of color, and journalism staffing, power structures, and coverage does not currently reflect this reality. We know we need to rebuild trust with communities of color in order to be sustainable. We believe that as we increase the diversity of our news enterprises, including in positions of leadership, that we will have a more diverse audience and community in engaging with us. And we also believe that in order to achieve our highest vision in journalism, which is to meet the information needs to increase agency of the folks we serve, that we have to make sure we are telling the full stories of all of the communities in Philadelphia. So the Next Generation Fund has 2 tracks this year. The first is professional development support for students and professional journalists of color, and the second is an internship support track to support student journalists of color with internships that are unpaid. The professional development track provides awards of $500 for journalists of color to use toward any professional development of their choice. To be eligible for this grant, you need to be a professional or student journalist who is a person of color and lives in the greater Philadelphia area. I'll go over the application briefly here, but you can see the full application on our website. First, we'll ask you for personal information. Some of this will be blinded, like your name, email, and phone number, while other things we'll be able to see. The second area is demographic information, which helps us make sure we have a diverse cohort. Third, we'll ask you core application questions to understand why you chose the program you chose, your career goals, how you want to contribute to diversity in journalism, and your work samples. And most of these questions will be limited to 250 words or less. And then finally, we'll request an email for a recommender to speak to your work. The second opportunity available is the Next Gen Intern Support Track. This provides financial support for students of color taking on unpaid internships. In order to be eligible for this grant, you either have to have been offered or have accepted an unpaid internship, and you need to be a student of color that is either from the Philadelphia area, going to school in the Philadelphia area, or taking on an unpaid internship in the greater Philadelphia area. For this application, it is very similar to the first one, so I won't go through all the segments, but the third segment is different. In this segment, we'll be asking you about your internship opportunity, your career goals, and how you want to contribute to diversity in journalism, and we'll also be asking for work samples. So you may be asking, what happens to my application once I submit it? An internal review team at the Lenfest Institute will read all applications, and we'll be reviewing it based on the following criteria. The first is current professional achievement. We'll be looking at your work samples to see the quality of your work. The second is growth potential. We'll be looking here to clearly understand what are your ultimate career goals and how are you hoping this professional development helps you in getting there. The third thing is leadership skills. We'll be looking to see how you mentor others. And then finally, spreading ideas. We'll be looking to see if you're an active participant in Philadelphia media, and if so, how. I should also note that we will be reviewing all applications from a blind perspective, so we will not know the name of the person applying in order to mitigate bias and make sure that we are really letting the application stand on its own. And finally, we may need additional information from you, so please check your spam folder every once in a while just to make sure that you're not missing anything from us that we need in order to make a final determination on your application. Now let's move on to some frequently asked questions. The first question is if people can apply more than once. For our student journalists, You can apply for both the professional development track and the intern support track. I do want to note that if you are a student looking to apply for both tracks, you will need to submit 2 separate applications. For our professional journalists, we ask that you only apply once for the professional development track based on the need that is most pressing for you in your professional development this year. The next question is whether folks who have received the Next Gen Award before can reapply. Absolutely, we encourage you to apply again if you have a professional development need this year that could use support, but we want you to know that priority is going to be given to folks who have not received a Next Gen Award before. The next question is, when are applications due, right? This is the operative question. Applications are going to be due on Thursday, April 8th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we do not plan to extend that deadline because we want to get back to people before the end of April so that they can make their plans on what they're doing this year. We will be responding to all applicants by April 29th, but we may reach out to you beforehand to get additional information needed to process your application. So please make sure you're checking your email and spam folder regularly. If you look at our student applications, you'll see that we ask for your GPA. So you may be asking, is there a GPA requirement to apply? No, there is not, but we will be giving preference to students with a 3.0 or above. So the next question is, what types of things does the professional development track support? We can support a lot of things, but conference attendance is one, leadership coaching for one-on-one support is another, professional courses or equipment, or anything really that will help you grow professionally that costs money. So you know you need a recommender. You may be asking, who should you ask and when is their recommendation due? So anyone who can speak to your work and your growth is a good person. So it could be a boss or a professor, but it could be a mentor or a colleague as well. Their recommendation is due April 16th at 5 p.m. So we have a few weeks after your application is due to continue to follow up with them if they don't get it in on time without impacting your application. The final question is, am I guaranteed a subsidy if I apply? Unfortunately, no, because the fund is limited. So awards will be given to those who best fit the criteria. So make sure that your application hits on the points that we talked about earlier for the criteria, and that you are showing clearly how the internship or your professional development opportunity will help you in reaching your career goals, and that your career goals are clearly stated in the application. So thank you so much for taking the time to listen today. I hope this was helpful. I think if you take the advice in this video, along with the basics of having a clear, concise written application, you'll be in really good shape toward getting an award. I do want to remind you that applications are due April 8th at 11:59 p.m. And if you have any questions that weren't answered in this video, please feel free to reach out to us at grants@lenfestinstitute.org. Thanks again, and I'm really looking forward to reviewing your application.